hold up, hold up.
Yeah.
Hold up, hey, woman.
Hold on. Let me finish my point, you jerk.
You don't call your dad a jerk.
Well, you're being a jerk.
We just had one of our guests on, Jason Fry, talking about the Celtics are going to win their 19th championship. So what have you got to say about that?
Who this Jason Fry character is, he was talking about doing hard shit. Well, his prediction is bullshit. Okay. All right.
I have a feel we're about to be joined by Sir George. He normally comes out of the black hole. Oh, there he is. Sir George. He is
it's
back.
You play football. What's up? You never
Well,
look.
I just want to say
Hey,
you
hey.
are.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Jerry. I just sold Jerry joke. Hey, Jerry. You said, well, this ain't your number one. You're number one, Jerry. Number one.
Oh my God. We're moving on. We've killed the Cowboys. Matter of fact, get out. I'm tired of talking to you. Give me freaking JJ. Bring JJ on the show. Holy crap. Let's hear his opinion about this damn trade and why they made this decision. I think you're trying to cover your own ass right now and just
Best
not
country of
you were
ninth
wrong.
in the country.
I think you're just trying to cover your ass right now. And don't.
But you know what? I got a big ass, so
That's a lot of
take
cover.
a lot of cover. It take a blanket, damn it.
More like a drape.
Did you just pull a drape? Is that so I can open it up when I need to go?
Hey, you're getting too deep into this.
Rivalries make sports great, but they
Yes.
got to be on the same level. And I'm sorry, Angel Reese ain't on the level of Caitlin Clark. Like, it's not Magic Bird.
If you don't want to commit to it, take your ass and be a PE all-star.
First off, you need to get your facts effing straight.
How do you like me now? What? You're the coach. Shut up, dude. All you haters, shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up.
Whoa.
I won 5 Super Bowls, damn it. How dare you call the Cowboys a shit team? Watch the Cowboys. It'll be fun, they said. Bloody fucking hell, it was no fun.
It was like riding a train around one of the Kardashians' asses, and you just disappear into this abyss of ice. Somehow he talked about buttholes that made me hungry for a PBJ sandwich. It's 35-7, and it's only 7 because you just scored. Shut up.
Are you telling me coaches like Coach Popovich does plays in spaghetti noodles?
The thing about Coach Popovich is he actually liked to use popcorn with super glue.
Popcorn with super glue?
Yeah, he would put super glue little magnets on the bottom, and then he would arrange them on the board, and he would like color them different colors, and that would signify the opponents. And yeah,
Are those the players?
I don't want to give away any industry secrets on that particular thing, but yeah, I'm just gonna say you gotta. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying no more.
And they're playing with sticks, and they're playing with a little puck all the time.
Expert analysis right there. They play
The
with
fuck?
sticks and pucks.
Trying to grow the game, man. Global game.
These people, they don't give a damn. They
Well, I don't really know, but it drives me nuts.
Hmm.
You're almost going to laugh. I can see it. Almost fixing to lose it. It drives me nuts.
Oh man.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody.
What's up, folks? We are back.
All right.
It is the illustrious dynamic father and son duo. We're back. I worked on the intro a little bit, added some new stuff. So if you saw that from the beginning, you recognized some new stuff, as well as new background. I rearranged the studio / office. So, well, I am Casey the Remix Schedule. Next to me, as always, is the bald and the beautiful Eddie the Original Schedule. Ingratiate yourself to the folks watching.
Howdy, everyone. All right. I'm ready to rock and roll. Got good stuff.
All right. Yeah, we have a lot happening, when you're covering a full week of, especially this time of year with playoffs going on. There's normally 2 or 3 games that have happened since the last time we've been on. So a lot has happened, including is something going on in the NBA. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. So, of course, I just teased it. We're going to talk the lottery. The Mavs get the number 1 pick. We got playoffs, NBA, and NHL. We're going to go over the Cowboys schedule. We're going to give you our picks. What is our prediction for them being on the season? Are they going to have a winning record, losing record, in our opinion? You're going to want to find out. I am nor the optimist fan, and the man next to me is negative Nancy all the time, even though his best friend JJ told everyone to shut the hell up last week, as you saw in the intro. So I think he's your best friend. I just made that up.
Okay. Well, there you go. And I don't think I'm the pessimist about this, but I think I'm more the realist.
No. The only thing you were not a pessimist about was you were overly optimistic about Ezekiel Elliott last year.
You just ain't gonna let that shit go, are you?
Well, Jerry Jones can't let all in go. So we're until you get something right around here, you're gonna be held to that standard. Don't look confused. Don't look confused.
I picked the winner of the NCAA March Madness.
I don't remember that, but I know who you picked to win the NBA championship, and they're not even in the playoffs anymore.
Well,
Which we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's go ahead and start with it. I had text message out the wazoo on my phone. Everyone knows I'm a Mavericks fan. You got the big, it's over here.
You know what you're forgetting.
Oh, all right. Fine. We'll do it. I'm sure our number 1 fan from the beginning would be upset if we didn't do it. So go ahead, hit the people with your joke of the day.
Yes, the dad joke of the day. You know why Mozart? You know who Mozart is?
Yes. Stupid question.
Yes. You know why Mozart does not like chickens or didn't like chickens?
Go ahead.
Because they always going around going, bok, 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 bok.
All right, that one got me to smile. I'm not going to lie. That turned out better than I thought it was going to be.
Amadeus.
Good laugh.
Rock me, Amadeus.
Oh, yeah. That was solid. Not bad this week. So, we got our rundown. We got our whiskey of the week as well, and which is what I have right here. No children on the show. By the way, let me announce this to all the new folks. If you haven't been following the Tired Sports Network, our title show, the Founding Fathers, as I call them, are now the Bearded Bros podcast, a sports podcast. Same great show, just a different name. They felt like it was too close to the network show, so they want a little variety. They got a great graphic now. I said they need to work on their beard game a little bit. But we're also adding a 4th show to the network. They're going to be out of Denver. They're called Sports Crew Talk or Crew Sports Talk. One of those two. I apologize, guys. I'm getting it wrong. I should have wrote it down. But I went and checked out their TikTok. Let's just say we're not going to be the most honest show anymore when it comes to our use of language. They don't let your kids tune in, and that's a good thing. That's all I'm gonna say. They are authentic. They are real. They are awesome. You're gonna enjoy watching them. And you know, because I was interested when you add a new show, which we're not the FNGs anymore, which is awesome. You always wonder what the style is going to be, right? And we're kind of the comedic, you know, kind of corny, funny duo here on the network.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, you know, we involve our characters and, you know, B Boach and J Kid, and one day we'll have Sir George back on and all that. And so I was curious on what type of show they did. Woo! They are raw and in your face, and I love it. So they're starting in June. I do believe June or July. I think it's the middle of June, somewhere around June 9th, I think, is the start date. So be on the look for Cruise Sports Talk. And it's a different part of the country. We got the Philly show. We got 2 shows in Texas. Now we're getting a show in Denver. There's another one in the works that I don't want to put too much information out there, but Tired Sports Network, we are growing. June 9th. Thank you. See, our CEO is hovering over us, watching, letting us know. I'm just messing with y'all. Hey, and the old man can control the screen now. I don't have to do it all.
There you go.
So look at that.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's get into the NBA draft lottery. Like I was saying, everyone knows I'm a Mavs fan. I got a Mavericks tattoo on my left shoulder after the 2011 championship. And, you know, that's how much I love them. And I was the one guy that was saying, do not lose your mind after the Luka trade. I wouldn't have done the trade, but I tried to make sense of it. And I think because of my positivity, because of my belief in the system.
Oh, it was all because of you.
Yes, because
all
of
because
me.
of you.
Because of me. Because we are the most entertaining thing on the internet right now, as far as Thursday nights at 7 p.m. The basketball gods smiled upon the Dallas Mavericks and said, fan base, we take pity on you, and we're going to reward you. Bam, here's the number 1 pick. Congratulations, here's Cooper Flag. 1.8% chance to win that pick. Everyone who texted me was all like, you really not going to say something on social media? It's rigged. It's rigged, dude. It's rigged.
No, you're not trading. Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not trading for Giannis. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not doing it. I think that would actually piss off the fan base even more. But I do want to get into this because
well, hold on before you go too far.
All right, go ahead.
What about the rumors that they're going to get Luka back? That this was all part of a master plan to send him to the Lakers to lower his value and sign him back. Plus, get a high pick.
Well, I think the high pick thing is you wouldn't have been able to count on that in some master plan. You would definitely have collusion if that was the case. I mean, you had a 1.8% chance into it. You know, but there does seem to be this very strange happenings in the NBA when a team loses their star. I'm gonna put this up on the screen right here, and we kind of read it together. In 2010, LeBron leaves. My decision. I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Dumbass. He leaves, and the Cavaliers win the lottery with a 2.8% chance to win the lottery. Then Chris Paul gets traded to the Clippers. Then the Hornets win the lottery. Then Anthony Davis gets traded to the Lakers. The Pelicans win the lottery. Then Luka gets traded, and now the Mavs win the lottery. It looks really suspicious, don't you think?
Yeah, when you put it up like that, that is very, very suspicious. But the thing I will point out, there's multiple years, except for the 2010, 2011, there's multiple years in between. So,
yeah, I'm gonna Derek. I'm gonna respond to that here in a little bit. I have another graphic I want to put up there here in a minute. I think ultimately the rig thing I think is bogus. The Mavericks have never had the number 1 pick. You know, this does look oddly suspicious. I mean, you go all the way back to the Patrick Ewing thing back in the day, right? With the envelope supposedly was frozen, and so the commissioner could feel it. But I'll talk about the trade. I don't think you trade out that number 1 pick. First off, I really don't. I think you need something to ingratiate your fans with, and I don't think Giannis is it. I kind of talked about the eerie, similar playbook the Mavs are doing that the Oakland A's did. I think we talked about that last week or 2 weeks ago. And so the Vegas thing is in there. And you got to have, when you go as a new franchise, if you are going to move a team, you need a star. And these stars are old that they have. And this move wouldn't happen in the next 2 to 3 years, which is the quote-unquote championship window Nico Harrison talked about. So I think you need, and especially if Cooper Flag develops into a great player. So the suspect and the league being rigged, I can't get behind that as far as the draft lottery goes, but it does look oddly suspicious. I got to be honest. Enough to have a legitimate.
Yeah, I think it's, do I think there's conspiracy theories from time to time? Yes. And do I think there's actual conspiracies? Yes. But I think this would just be too much to try and keep under wraps. Because the thing is, it's just like, the whole Sanders discussion that it was all collusion or whatever. It's just, they're expecting too many people to keep things under wraps, like you said. And it's just, you can barely keep a secret about anything right now. Just ask P. Diddy Combs. So it's just, I think there's too much that would have to happen and have to be kept under wraps to try and do something like that way. It's like they say, oh, well, the NFL is scripted. Yeah, okay. So you can figure that out and send 11 guys on one side, 11 guys on the other side. Okay, he's going to run the ball here, but you're not going to be able to tackle him. It's just too much. They're figuring it's too much.
Right.
When AI robots are playing on the field, then I can buy a little conspiracy stuff.
Don't put that up on the screen. I'm gonna get that to here in a second, but I do want to put this up here. So Derek, he asked this question. He didn't think, he thinks Flag is great, but Mavs have a 2 to 3 year window win now. I don't Flag. I mean, you look at this roster, and probably some tweaks. I think they probably need another backup point guard other than Spencer Dinwiddie. But also, Kyrie's out most of the next year. So, but this roster, healthy, I think can compete for a championship as is. Max Christie, I fell in love with Max Christie last year after the trade. Didn't know much about him. Plays great defense. He's a good offensive player. Obviously, Washington is our guy, and you have Lively and Gafford. I have a feeling Gafford's probably going to get traded. And yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Key word is healthy. I do agree with that. But that's the key word for anything. I mean, you look at the Cowboys, they were supposed to be good last year. They weren't healthy. You look at Boston, they were supposed to repeat at champs, and Jason Tatum blows his Achilles. Last year on Boston's run to the finals, I mean, Joel Embiid gets hurt. Donovan Mitchell gets hurt. Every team they played on their way to the finals had someone get hurt other than the Mavericks in the finals. So health is always part of the luck factor. But I like this team, and it gives you a guy who just turned 18. Like, he's not 18 turning 19. He was 17 years old at Duke University. I think if he develops, you give the Mavericks fan base someone to latch on to again, and you somewhat start making up for the dumb shit you did a few months ago. That's my opinion. I think that team is a playoff team, at least 2 rounds deep.
Do you think they're going to try and get Luka back?
if Luka doesn't sign an extension this offseason, then there's always a chance. But the chance would be that Nico would have to be fired, number one. And I think that depends on how Cooper Flag develops and how this team looks in 2 years. If your dad in 2 years onto a Klay Thompson, 2 years onto a Kyrie, 2 years on Anthony Davis, it could completely look like a different team. So, I'm going to address the Spurs. And I'm going to go to this off-topics question we got asked. Spurs got the number 2 pick. That's your squad. I think you decided to cheer for them again. They're on your background again. Stephon Castle's a dude. We obviously know about Wemby. Now they got the 2nd pick, which they're probably going to pick that. I don't know if they're going to pick that point guard out of Rutgers because they have De'Aaron Fox. But that point guard out of Rutgers who's 6'6" is a legitimate guy. Your Spurs are building something down there that could be scary.
Well, it's kind of figured that a little bit over the past year or so, but they've kind of underperformed. So I think as long as they don't mess this up and they do get someone to really, looking at the roster, I just think they need that a little bit of flash and dash, which they haven't had. And now that Popovich is gone, we're going to have to see what happens. Whether the style changes a little bit. But yeah, they've been putting together some good players, but they have just underperformed. And I think
they're so young. And Wemby got hurt this year. I said Wemby got hurt this year, as well as they're a super young team. I mean, their 2 best players are under the age of 22. So, I think. But they are building something there. They're on their way back.
Yeah, so I guess the talk is what for Harper, right? Out of Rutgers.
Yep, that's what I was saying. The 6'6" point guard.
Yeah, so I think they haven't had that type of player to me as far as point guard since really Parker. They have not been able to get somebody in there to kind of be the leader. And that was the thing when they brought the big men in before, when obviously I'm dating myself, when they had the Admiral, when they brought in Tim Duncan, they always had a good point guard, but to, dish the ball off. So I think that's the route I would go. And then I'm just anxious to see how the coaching change is going to affect it. Because Popovich wasn't totally in most of the year because of, I guess, health problems, and I think he kind of just wasn't himself the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, when your
Politics
team's
aside,
struggling and you're used to a certain level of excellence, I think you could, have a potential regime change as they did. I mean, Pop had a mini stroke. If you watched his press conference announcing he was going to stop coaching and go back to being the president of basketball operations, he was not moving very well. And so that's a little scary in itself. And I'm, hopefully, no matter what we disagree with Pop on some things, we obviously hope he's good to go. So, but they are building something pretty interesting.
He's still going to have an effect on it, obviously, since he's going to stay as head of operations. So we'll see.
I'm interested to see what
I
also.
think coaching matters, so we're going to see.
I'm also interested to see what. Oh no, not yet. Interested to see what Philly does with the third pick. You know, are they going to move off Joel Embiid? Are they going to move off Maxey and see? Are they going to blow it up? You know, I think our Philly guys talked about that earlier in the week, and you know, that's going to be an interesting scenario because they went through this long quote unquote process and never amounted to anything other than injuries and failed playoff runs. So interesting thing there. All right, let's move on to the playoff picture. Your pick to win it all is out. Your pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers. What happened?
Well, I think we've dealt with the injury here, right?
Well, they got all their guys back for the last 3 games.
But I think everybody, including me, underestimated the Pacers. I mean, the Pacers have just been on a tear. And, you know, as they say, the little engine that could has been the Pacers. So, I'm really starting to believe that the Pacers could win this thing. Because if you look at who's left, you've got the Thunder and the Nuggets, and that series is still, you know, it's 3-2. So you don't necessarily, you think Thunder's going to win that, but we'll have to see. Timberwolves took care of business pretty easy with the Warriors. Obviously, having Curry out hurts the Warriors. But I think anybody that comes up against the Pacers, whether it's the Thunders, Nuggets, or the Timberwolves, I think you have to say the Pacers have a really good chance of beating any of those teams, at least from my perspective, especially if it ends up being the Thunder. If the Thunder somehow manages to get to the conference finals and finish off the Timberwolves, which I think is a high order based on how well the Timberwolves have played so far in the playoffs, then I still think the Pacers now have moved themselves into being the favorite. From my perspective, they have. And that's who, now that the Cavaliers are out, since they beat them, I got to go with the ones that beat them. So that's my prediction, is that the Pacers, whether they face the Nuggets, Thunder, or the Timberwolves, that they can pull this off.
Oh, I think you're completely overlooking the New York Knicks or the Boston Celtics. I know Boston is down a guy, but they did beat the Knicks last night. I think the Knicks will win the series. I think the Knicks beat the Pacers now that Boston is injured. So I think it's going to be a Knicks in the finals. The Timberwolves have won 4-1, 4-1. Now, obviously, they beat a Stephless Warriors, a Lakers team that I never believed in, even with Luka on that team, with LeBron. I just didn't see it defensively for them. You had one of the worst defensive stars in the league in Luka Doncic, which has been proven in the playoffs. Boston exposed them last year. That was my biggest gripe about him. And LeBron, who doesn't really play defense anymore either at 40 years old. You know, I mean, he's an old man now. I don't care how good a shape he's in. He's still 40. Can't hold him to that 25-year-old standard. You know, Boston winning that game last night pretty handily too surprised me after Tatum blowing out his Achilles, and wish Tatum a speedy and healthy recovery. But I think the Knicks will end up winning that series, and I think they'll beat the Pacers. I know the Pacers are kind of hot right now. You know, they took care of the Bucks 4-1. They took care of the Cavaliers 4-1. But the Bucks, Damian Lillard wasn't in the series as well. And Pacers the Pacers beat the Cavs, and I think 1 or 2 of those wins is when a couple of their guys were out that you mentioned. So, you know, right now, I think it's going to be.
I did overlook the Knicks and the Celtics, but I still think
Indiana out of those because of the injuries and because of what's going on with the Celtics.
Well, no one's injured on the
That
Knicks. So
Huh?
no one's injured on the Knicks this year. If you remember last year, their whole damn team got hurt when they were playing the Celtics. So it's kind of a little bit of a poetic justice here for the Knicks with Tatum getting hurt. But I think it's going to be Knicks, Timberwolves in the final. The only caveat to that is if the Nuggets beat OKC, I think OKC beats the Timberwolves. And it would be a Denver, New York final. So that's kind of what
I'm going to say. I still think it's going to be the Pacers and probably the Thunder.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. Let's switch gears here. There's a game on later tonight that we're both going to be watching. The Dallas Stars trying to close out the playoff series.
Jets. The
All
GET Jets. Winnipeg.
Yeah, I don't think they say that chant in Winnipeg. That's a football one. But,
No, they don't, Hoser.
yeah.
They don't.
What'd you say, eh?
They say get out. Get out.
Get out, eh?
Hey.
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 I need a beer, eh?
Hey. All right. That's enough A. Hey.
That's our Canadian accent. So there you go.
That's all we got.
That's a crazy accent. I'm Canadian too. I love it. It's
No, you're not. You're not. There's no. I've never seen a Canadian Indian.
It's
Never
really
seen it.
cold up here.
No,
I am
never.
shivering.
Never seen it. Not once. All right. So the nemesis for the Dallas Stars is out of the playoffs. Vegas is gone. I know you were worried about them. I actually am more worried about the Oilers. Hence, they won the series. McDavid and Draisaitl. I'm mispronouncing his name. One of those weird last names. I mean, they're two of the best players in the world. I think the Oilers pose more of a problem. Now, this year, I think Dallas is a better team overall. I think you like hot goaltending. Boy, that boy Ottinger is hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like in goal.
Yeah.
Not in his looks. I'm not like that.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Were you not ready for me to pass it to you on that one?
if you look at, here's the thing though. If you look at let's see. No,
Ottinger has the least amount of goals allowed in the playoffs. All right. So, and he just, nothing seems to face him right now. You know, the Stars are my cup pick. I believe in them. I think this is the best team they've had. I agree with Brad Alberts. I know he said this firsthand because I was in the room when he said it a few months ago. He thinks it's the best team that they've had because this was right after the Rantanen trade since the 99 Cup team. And I tend to agree with him. And he knows a lot more hockey than I do. So at the end of the day, Vegas Oilers, if it happens. Are you nervous?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. If you go back and look at each game that the Oilers played against the Golden Knights, Edmonton, if I'm not mistaken, outshot them by almost 10 to 12 goals, or shots, I should say, per game. And I'm just verifying that right now. I'm almost positive. So we can sit here. The only game they did not, okay, game 2, it was 37-32, but they still outshot them. So they basically outshot the Golden Knights in every single game in the series. So we can talk about the goaltending, but it comes down to the fact that Edmonton is able to keep it in the zone more.
Well, I'm going to say that is I think Dallas, because Miro's back, Heiskanen is back, and he might be the best defender on the planet, to be honest. I mean, a defenseman on the planet. Him and Harley and Ceci, I think the Dallas defenders are much better than the Knights defenders, just personally. Then you add the fact of you have Rantanen. The Oilers view me a lot like, or I view them a lot like Carolina, who is up 3-1 on Washington, by the way. Carolina just throws that puck at the net and hopes something happens. And a lot of times stuff happens. So
What scares you is when you see Draisaitl or McDavid going down the ice, you just think it's bad news for your team. Like, it's just like, oh shit, there they go. Because I still think Connor McDavid is the best player on the planet. Rantanen may be the hottest in his play right now on the planet, but McDavid is the best player on the planet, in my opinion.
Well, and this is the thing about Carolina is Carolina's another one, just like Edmonton, who outshoots their opponent. If you look at Game 4 of the last game against the Carolina and the Capitals, Carolina shot 38 shots on goal versus Capitals only shooting 21. I mean, they literally almost had 20 more shots on goal.
Yeah,
and when you talk, what's that?
They just throw it at the net. As soon as they get in the zone, they're just throwing it at the goalie. Like they're trying to play off a rebound or it hitting the backboard and bouncing out in front or hitting off a skate. They're playing the percentages in that route. They're not necessarily setting something up every single time. So,
well, and that's the thing. If you look at the games, throw game 1, go game 2 out. Game 1 was obviously in overtime as I'm not sure how many goals there wasn't, but once again, even in that game, in the game 1 where they went into overtime, they outshot them 33-14.
What series are you talking about right now?
The Carolina Capitals.
Okay.
And so literally Carolina is almost shooting 20 more shots, to your point, than their opponent. And when you do that, you're putting a serious strain on the other team's goalie. And because it's in the zone more, 20 more times than the other team, basically. So the Canes are a dangerous team right now, and the fact is they seem to be getting hotter as the games go along, because game 3, game 4, they pretty much handed it to the Capitals, 4-0, and then 5-2.
So
and
on the top side of the Eastern Conference, you got Florida and Toronto Maple Leafs.
Toronto.
Florida absolutely dismantled them in the last game. It was embarrassing for the Maple Leafs fans, Maple Leafs for the Toronto community. Maybe that's because their prime minister is a moron and they're getting what they deserve up there. But sorry, took a shot at our Canada fans. I don't even know if we have any fans in Canada right now. But at the end of the day, it's crazy that Toronto, it's been so long since they won a cup. I mean, they're an original 6 team, I do believe. And when you're an original 6 team, you generally don't go through long period of time of not getting to a finals or being super competitive. And the Maple Leafs, I mean, they were the number 1 seed on their side of the bracket as far as that top right, which would be that division, which means they took care of business all year against these division opponents. And now they're down to Florida. Florida's a beast. Carolina's a beast. I mean, when you start getting to this point in the playoffs in any sport, everyone's really good. I think
just since you brought up, the original 6 were the Montreal Canadiens, Toronto Maple Leafs, Boston Bruins, Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks, and the New York Rangers.
Yeah. I was about to say you should have tried to let me guess them, like see if I could have got them, but
no, yeah, I could have. I missed that opportunity.
Yeah, no trivia today. All right. We the Stars are going to be on after we're on. So we're, feel free to use us as your pregame. Tell your friends.
There you go.
But the Stars game tonight, they're in Winnipeg. On the road, closeout games are always tough, no matter the sport. We all know hockey is it's the most fun to watch in the playoffs. I don't know if the Stars get it done tonight. I want them to, I think they obviously have the talent to. I don't know if they do
I'm
because
going to be the negative Nancy here. I'm going to say they're going to get it done. It's over. And let's see if I can point to it because it's such a weird thing. Oh, my hands disappeared. Look,
Yeah,
I have no hands. I have no hands.
yeah,
So,
what do I do with my hands?
I don't know what to do with
Well, but
my hands.
I'm not. I don't take what I'm saying negative. I just think they're going into hostile territory, and I think they're going to get everything Winnipeg has. And they're
Are
going
you
to
saying if they're not first, they're last? If they're not first, they're last.
Well, in the series, if you don't come in first, then you're last. Yeah. But do I think they're capable? Obviously, yes. Do they have the goalie for the Jets? He's a different I think he hasn't won a road game all playoffs, but he's almost. It's very hard to score on him at home. So he's a different guy. So they have that going for them. They're at home. They get to play the Canadian national anthem first, and actually, I think they played second. They played the home one second. But anyways, I was just throwing that in there. All right, that wraps up our hockey segment. Let's go ahead and let's get our commercial break in from our illustrious sponsor, EasyLeadership.com.
Have you heard of the DISC communication tool? Yes, most people in business have. But there is a new tool out there that is tailored for leadership teams. It is called the DISC Work of Leaders and focuses on 3 main areas: vision, alignment, and execution. This amazing assessment is not just a game changer. It is a business strategy necessity if you want to create sustainability. Let's be honest, a lot of executives spend many hours in HR dealing with people issues, and that happens because of reactive leadership. If you are sitting in HR trying to figure out what happened after the fact, then you are not able to concentrate on running your department or business, and it steals your time. Email us or call. It's free to talk about it and learn how to become proactive in your leadership. Big or small, we have a plan to build on your strengths and an action plan for your challenges. Join Eddie Schedule, our CEO and founder, for a quick video on what a report does for you. Head over to our website and scroll down to see this amazing video of the DISC Work of Leaders tool. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.
That's Tara. I give her a different name every week. She's right. That Eddie Schedule guy is pretty amazing. You should go check him out.
No one's checking you out while watching that. That's all I'm saying.
Not check me out like, ooh, check me out. It's check out the video and learn something about the new work of leaders.
Sure.
Vision, alignment, and execution.
Sure.
It's amazing stuff.
All right. Well, the other thing that happened while we were on our week hiatus, which is our normal break, the NFL schedule came out. There's 2 things I really want to address for this. Obviously,
and we know about schedules.
We do. We are the schedule experts. You have been a schedule expert for almost 60 years. I've been a schedule expert for almost 40 years. Linda is
right
not
now,
a schedule
everyone looking at us this way is ahead of schedule.
Oh, you did not pull that up.
Now you're behind schedule.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. All right, but yes, we're going to talk about the NFL schedule. By the way, I mean, that's why we call it On Time Sports Talk, because our last name is Schedule. Like, we're always on time. That's what we do. If we were late, no, we're not late. Our presence was needed elsewhere.
Well, there you go.
Yes. Yeah, you're not an expert yet, honey. I'm sorry. You're going to get there, but you're not a schedule expert yet. I love you. Okay. All right. Hey, we're like.
All right, then. So what are we going to talk about? The Cowboys schedule first or what?
Yeah, we're going to get there. I was about to say it's like 16 days.
Before we get to it.
My wedding.
You're in trouble.
Like what? I'm sitting here trying to have a moment on the air, and you're just keep blah, 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 interrupting me. All right. Just like the intro video, the first video on the intro video was you're being a jerk. You're like, don't call my dad, your dad a jerk. Well, when you're a jerk, you're a jerk. Right now, you're being a jerk, and I don't appreciate it. And you got a bad attitude, and you're unprofessional.
It's better to be a jerk than a jerk off. There you go.
I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going that way. Good Lord. Oh, man. All right. We're going to talk about the Cowboys schedule first. Good sir.
Well,
and here it
before
is.
we get to it, though, before we get to this,
well, I just
did you see? Did you see that the Cowboys had like a little golf outing with? Yeah, they had Parsons. I guess was like live streaming it or whatever, and Schottenheimer, who they call Shotty, was in their golf cart and had a cup and was drinking out of the cup. So Parsons says the people online want to know what's in the cup, Coach. And he said it's a shotty. And of course, CD they all start laughing. It's a shotty. It's a shotty. What's a shotty? Well, it's pretty much Tito's and water. So get it? It's a shotty. So I thought that was actually kind of cool. But moving on.
Okay. I can't get that 45 seconds of my life back. Cool.
So the schedule.
Yes.
The Eagles.
Brought to you by the X account, the Cowboys Network. So snagged it off of there. Thanks for doing the graphic for us, guys.
I do have a rant. I don't know if it's a pet peeve or whatever, but Colin Cowherd, shut up, dude. Shut up, please. Colin Cowherd is one of the worst sports analysis, in my opinion, and I say it should be an analyst. That's what I consider Colin Cowherd, an analyst, because everything he talks about comes out of his ass. He's sitting there saying, why are the Cowboys starting off the season? Why do I have to watch the Cowboys? The Cowboys haven't been good or whatever. You know what? Dak got hurt last year, but the years before that, I could have swore we had a winning record of 12 games or more for the last how many years? So they're a winning football team. So, Colin, take your hate and get the hell off my TV. There, rant over.
I really think you should have went with what you should have saved that for.
Yeah, it pretty much was.
That one. That was a sports pet peeve.
Stop hating on the Cowboys. That's
all right.
all I can say. So let us do that.
All right, let's talk about the Cowboys schedule. I put it up there, and old man became old man.
Get off my yard.
Yeah. Unless you're in my yard, I don't have grass at all. So, all right, let's get to the schedule. Dang it. I was trying to thank the boys at the Cowboy Network on Twitter for doing this graphic so we didn't have to do it. So thank you, fellas. Starting off with a bang against the Eagles, week 1. Your boy Colin Cowherd said what he wants. The Cowboys drive ratings. And we're going to get into that here in a minute as well. But they're starting off with the Super Bowl champs coming out the gate. You're going to find out what you're made of in game 1. Obviously, you take the game into 4 game segments, but to really see how you what type of season, what type of team you are at that time. But that week 1 matchup, that's going to be a toughie. What do you think about it?
I think they're going to win. I think a lot of people are not, and not just because I'm a Cowboy homer, the thing is, I think a lot of people are not taking into account how many people the Eagles lost, and especially on defense and on a defensive line. So the Cowboys now, if they hadn't got Pickens, then I might feel a little bit different. And now there's talk of them getting another running back, possibly with Chubb. But even if they don't, I think they've got enough running back by committee people in that room to at least maintain a decent running game. Not a great running game, but a decent running game. But we don't know. Sometimes you get these guys out of college, like guys like Blue, and all of a sudden they just come into their own. So we'll see. I'm really hoping he does, even though he's a Longhorn. Being an Aggie, that's hard for me to say, but so I think the Cowboys win this game just because I think well, let's just be honest. Dak is what 9-3 against the Eagles.
Yeah, he is pretty damn good against the Eagles.
Yeah, he's rarely lost against the Eagles. And he's coming in as long as everybody gets out of camp healthy. He's coming in with some extra weapons this time he hasn't had. I mean, last year he didn't have any of these type of weapons except for CD. But remember, he didn't have CD in the first 2-3 games. What was it? Or did he get in the first game? But he had been out because he didn't go to training camp because he was holding out. So they didn't really get in sync until a little bit later. And then, of course, Dak gets hurt, and it just messes up the whole season. So I think it's a win for the Cowboys.
Yeah, I don't have them beating the Eagles in Week 1. I just think the Eagles are going to come out. Saquon Barkley is going to be, obviously, seeing if everyone's healthy, right? Saquon will be at as healthy as he'll be all year, as long as he doesn't get tweaked in training camp or something like that. I think they start off 0-1 here. I'm going to let you take it for why don't you go ahead and go through Week 4 and kind of give your wins and losses there.
Well, the Giants, to me, obviously, I think that's a win. They're going to be coming in with whatever their quarterback situation is. They've got a lame duck coach. I think they've got too many holes. I think they did pretty good in the draft, but that's not going to come out or show in Week 1 or in Week 2 even. That's going to take a little bit of time. Even if they start Dart, which I don't think they will do, I think they're going to go with Russell Wilson. So we'll see. So I think that's a win. I think Chicago, where they are playing in Chicago, you've got a new coach there. I do think their quarterback is going to be relatively better. I think they added a few folks, but I still think the Cowboys are just going to be too strong. I don't think Chicago's defense is up par yet. I don't see it getting there for a little while. So I think that's a win. And then we got Green Bay coming to town. I think this is usually where the Cowboys seem to falter. If they start out the gate good, which I've got them going 3-0 out the gate, I think Green Bay is where they mess up. And barring any injury or anything, I think Green Bay just right now is pretty strong. They got a good quarterback. They've added some pieces to that team. So I'm going to say Green Bay wins that game. So I got them going 3-1 in those first 4 weeks. So now it's on you.
Yeah, no. Green Bay barely squeaked into the playoffs last year, so I'm not too hot on that. I also have them going 3-1, but I have them losing to the Eagles. I think they take care of business against the Giants, the Bears, and the Packers. And I think if they'll get on I think the Eagles game will be close. I think they lose that maybe on a field goal or by a touchdown, and then they get rolling against the Giants, and then they carry that momentum the next couple of weeks because I think the Cowboys get on a 5-game winning streak there. I think they take care of the Jets and the Panthers, and then I have them losing in Week 7 to the Commanders. And then I have them beating the Broncos. So I have them 7-1 after the first 8 weeks.
7-1. Okay. Well, here's my thing for the second 4 weeks from week 5 through week 8. Jets, I think they beat them handily. I think the Jets are going to be the Jets. I don't see a lot of changes happening there. Obviously, Carolina, even though they did some great things in the draft, I just don't see them winning. Cowboys will win that one easily. I have them beating the Commanders because that's a home game for us. That's gonna be a rough 4 weeks because only one game is at home, all the rest are away. But I actually have Denver winning that game. I think Bo Nix is just going to continue to get better. I think they've got some weapons there. And I think historically the Cowboys don't play well in Mile High. So I think once again I have them. So with that, that's 6-2 so far.
Yeah, following the next 4, obviously you have the bye in week 10. I have him beating the Cardinals, beating the Raiders. So I have them 9-1 going into that. Going into the Eagles week 12. I think they lose to the Eagles again, and this starts a 3-game losing streak to the Eagles, then losing to Kansas City on Thanksgiving Day, and then losing to the Detroit Lions in Detroit, and then beating the Vikings. I'm not a big believer in JJ McCarthy, and I have them winning. I have them winning out, finishing off with a record of 11-6 is what I have them at.
What did you say? 11-6?
11-6.
Okay. So for me, going Cardinals, I think is a win because they got to come to Dallas. Historically, they have not played well. The bye, obviously, and then the Raiders. I really have a hard time, but I'm going to say they squeak this one out because I think Pete Carroll coming in there, and Geno Smith, who has been an underrated quarterback for a while. I think by the time they reach week 11, you're going to see them really doing some things. So I think Cowboys win it, but I think it's going to be difficult. I think they beat the Eagles again. I think as long as Dak is healthy, I think they pretty much make the Eagles our bitch, as they have been. So I do think they'll lose to Kansas City. I think Kansas City is just Kansas City, obviously. I think they'll lose to Detroit because it's in Detroit, and I think Campbell's boys up there are just going to be too strong. And the Cowboys have historically not played well in Detroit. I do think they beat Minnesota because Minnesota has caused themselves some inconsistency. So they beat them. I think they do. It's going to be a tough game against the Chargers. But what we've seen by that time of the year, the Chargers, for some reason, always have some type of injury that costs them the end of it, even though that's my AFC team. I think the Cowboys do win that game. The next game against Washington, this one is in Washington. I see the Cowboys probably losing that game. And then, of course, beating New York. So with all of that, that gives me 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have them 3, 4, 5, 6. So 12-6. So I have them back to winning 12 games.
There's only
Now,
7.
What?
Hey,
Huh?
there's only 17 games.
How did I end up
I don't know how you
doing
ended
this
up,
again?
but
I don't know
I
how I ended up
misspoke on
with
the
an
Jets.
extra one either. Oh, because yeah, it's 12-5. Sorry,
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing? If you have 12 wins,
but
it's fine.
12-5, 12-5. But I think we're going to know straight out of the gate what type of coach Shoddy is, and if it's going to change.
Well, I think that's another reason I give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles in game one. I misspoke. I think the Cowboys will trip up in a bad game. I gave you 4 losses when I went over it. My 5th loss is actually the Jets. I think they're going to go to New York, and it's going to be one of those just ugly muck of a game, and the Jets get kind of lucky, and they're going to end up beating the Cowboys in Week 5. That was my 6th loss. So like I said, I have one game.
Yeah. So who's you're saying it's Fields, right? Fields is going to be the quarterback.
Fields, and then I'm saying it's going to be just one of those. You're 4 weeks in, you're kind of sluggish. You're on the road, long road trip. The Jets probably getting desperate by that time, and I think ultimately, like I said, I think it's might be a turnover bug hits Dak or the fumble or something, just something out of character for next year's Cowboys is going to happen in New York. So that's really what I think there.
Yeah, I don't buy that necessarily. What I think is the passing game, I think it's going to be there from the get-go. But I think it's going to take a few weeks to develop the running game to figure out who's going to be the best option.
Well, I mean, I think it's going to take time to develop chemistry with Pickens. I do. So we're arguing semantics here, right? Minute details. I have them losing to the Eagles. You don't, but we have a 1-game difference on the season. So we both see them having a good season. We both see them competing. I just have them splitting with the Washington and losing both to the Eagles is 3 out of their 5 losses. The other one is to Kansas City and the Lions, which are the better teams in the NFC. So
what happens if they start out of the gate at 1-3 or 1-4? What happens to Shoddy?
Well,
does Jerry stick with him all year?
Yes, he does. He's not going to. When have you ever known Jerry Jones to admit that big of a mistake? Never.
Well, it was. Which was the coach he let go during the season?
Well, that was Wade Phillips, but that was after 2 years. Like, this is Shoddy's first year. He gave Dave Campo 3 years. Went 5-11, 5-11, and 5-11. So he's not going to give up on Shoddy after 4 games or 5 games. But we both see them obviously having a good season after trashing them on the lack of off-season moves as far as signing people. I think we're both pretty happy with their draft, the trade for Pickens. They filled a lot of their holes. I also think getting Sam Williams back at the defensive end position and Overshown at some point. Yeah, by the way, he was talking to you on this one. Can't count the bye as a win there, buddy.
It was already up there. I got rid of it.
No, I put it down. But if everyone is healthy, we have 1,000-yard back. Dak will be top 3 MVP talk. Well, a couple years ago, that was the case, right? He was second in the MVP or something of that nature. So if Blue or if they make a move for a running back, I think ultimately that becomes they become a dangerous offensive team with Pickens. And I was actually giving more credit to Tolbert last week than the old man was. but we both see him having a good season. But there is one thing. I know you love this subject. This is your favorite subject ever right here.
Oh,
International
I was just
games.
looking this up. This it drives me crazy. And obviously ESPN is behind this because ESPN gets to take trips overseas and all that. And they're like, oh, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's like I said, these people don't even know what the hell they're watching. They go in, they don't. What was that? Was that a touchdown or first down? Why do you call it a down? Because no one's down. I don't know what you're talking about. Or you get they're going to Germany. What the hell just happened? I don't know what this is.
Well, I think that if you start looking at these things, I saw a graphic and I should have snagged it. It was like the distance that teams are traveling this year. And there's a team, I think the number one team traveling this year is traveling over 38,000 miles for 17 game season. But if you look at these teams on this list, these aren't all East Coast teams. You got the Rams traveling to London. You got Minnesota, which is middle of the country. Kansas City, middle. The Chargers going all the way to where the hell are they playing?
They're going down to Brazil.
Oh, is that Brazil
That's not
again?
too bad.
But then you got your favorite location. The Vikings playing in Dublin versus Pittsburgh. Yeah, this was I remember seeing this on that graphic. Like the number one team's travels 38,000 miles, and the Bengals only travel 8,000 for all their games. So, tell me how that's fair. Matter of fact, I think isn't one of these teams playing back to back in Europe? I think it's the Vikings, isn't it? The Vikings play September 28th.
Because they're playing. Yeah, because they're playing September
28th and October 5th.
October, so they're basically staying out there.
So here's my issue. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
My thing is when you do this, like the Vikings, that's 2 games they're pulling away from their fans. It's from their fans can't go watch their team.
One.
Well, maybe one, but the bottom line is who's going to fly all the way to freaking Dublin or all the way to London, because now you're talking a $5,000, $6,000 freaking ticket to go watch your team versus if Minnesota, say, playing in Denver or someplace like that, it's a $300 ticket plus whatever the hell you got to pay for these astronomical prices to go see the team. To me, it's just I understand their thinking, but what is the end game here? What the hell are we doing?
Well,
either if you want to do this, then put a damn team over there. Put a team over there.
The London
Stop
Black Knights.
this crap of sending the Chargers all the way to Brazil, sending Minnesota all the way to Dublin. Stop this shit and put a team there.
Well,
that's my thoughts on it. I just the ESPN, they have a love fest with this. Of course they do, because they get to go over there and cover these games. They get a free trip to Dublin. Hell, the ones going to see the Minnesota Vikings are going to stay there. They get a trip over there for 2 months. It's just it's all about money. That's all it is.
I mean, my question is are all these games on ESPN? Because I don't know if they are. So I don't want
to. Well, either ESPN or it's mainly the NFL channel.
Well, that's
which
Fox
is the
and
same damn announcers. You got Michael Irvin and Steve Warner, all these other people are the same damn thing. They're on ESPN, they're on the NFL channel, same shit.
Well, your main channels are Fox and CBS. And most of the time, if you look at the time these games are, they're not the prime time games. They're all in the AM. I mean, the Vikings Pittsburgh are playing at 9:30 in the morning. So Eastern time. So
and if I'm not mistaken, these games only come on the NFL channel. These don't come on Fox and all that.
Well, then it's just the NFL Network, if that's the case.
For the NFL Network, that's what I mean.
I'm not trying to get into that. I'm trying to make a point here. Is we talked about this. Matter of fact, there's a highlight in our intro about this where you're like, they don't give it, you damn. And I'm like, it's a global game trying to grow the game. Doing 1 or 2 games, I understand. This is getting, it's too much now. It's a too big a percentage of your schedule that you have. And to a fan base that you had NFL Europe, that flopped. If you do put a team in London or whatnot, I think that's really what this is an experiment for, to see what does it look like when teams have to travel to London every week. I really think this is what the grand scheme is, to see, okay, well, maybe we'll add a franchise in London. Maybe we'll add a franchise in Rio de Janeiro or somewhere in Brazil. Or some other place, because travel isn't as bad as it used to be on these private planes that these team owns, and it's specifically designed for players and bigger bodies. But I agree, you should not have. I 100% agree with this assessment. There should not be a division game overseas, and that's in that Chiefs Chargers. Isn't that a division game?
Yes.
Yeah, that should not be happening. I think that's the only division game on here, but because none NFC, AFC, Jets and Broncos aren't in the same division. NFC, AFC.
Well, the Chiefs and Chargers are, I think, the only one.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Thanks for repeating it, Mr. Echo.
I'm just repeating what you said because I think you were trying to look for the other one. But it's stupid to me. It's just because all this is, there's 2 major things. It's about the money, trying to get foreign money, and the NFL Network, because they can't justify showing games on the NFL Network, and because they already have contracts with Fox and CBS and ESPN. So this is a chance to get more games on the NFL Network, which gets more sponsors there. And so that's what this is all about. But now if I'm a Charger fan who is already 2 hours off from the Eastern time zone, you're going to be, 6 hours off now? And if you want to get up and watch your team just on TV, you're going to have to get up like 4 in the freaking morning to watch your team play a divisional game against the Chiefs, which is a game they're going to want to see. And the Chiefs fans, it's the same thing. It's just, stop it, NFL. Put a team over there, or stop this bullshit. Because that's all it is. It's straight up bullshit. But the thing is, the NFL, this just goes to show how far the NFL has got away from the regular fan. Because you can't go, you used to be able to buy season tickets without mortgaging your freaking house. You used to be able to buy tickets to take your family to a football game without spending $2,000, which is what it will cost you just to get in the damn gate if you got a couple of kids now. They have got away from the regular fan. And that's because, first off, you're paying your players way too much money. There's too many contracts with the betting. I've already talked about that before. All this betting bullshit. And I think, and if we were to look at this when you go overseas, I think there's probably some more opening up of the betting rules if you're betting on something that's going on in another country. But, it goes back to Commissioner Roger Goodell. I've hated this dude since he took over because I think he's just all about the money. And that is all he's worried about. And the fact that they picked this dumbass to be the guy running it again. Yeah, I know I will never get a job on the NFL Network, so oh well. But hire Colin Cowherd, then you can get another pansy ass on there. But the bottom line is it's all about money. It is not about the fan anymore. And if you think it is, just watch any of this shit. It makes it really tough. It makes it really tough because we are stuck having to watch it on TV or something like that because and now and they make that tough too where you got to buy a subscription to see the NFL network. You better have a subscription to the NFL
I
network
think you're talking about
or
the
you're
Red
not going
Zone
to see.
channel.
Huh?
I think you're talking about the Red Zone channel. You don't need a subscription to
Well,
watch the NFL Network.
You're going to have one of the paid services, whether it's DirecTV or cable. It's not like you're going to get it on your regular TV that people who can't afford those things only have.
Well, that's
So if I was in what I'm talking about is in San Diego, if I have an HD antenna to watch
Well,
the 3 or 4 channels that they have, one of those channels would have my Chargers on that TV. But if it's on the NFL Network, which has been a complaint before, putting them on Hulu, putting them on Netflix and all that bullshit, that certain people, the regular fan, can't watch that game.
I've never seen that with NFL games. I've seen that with other sports, but I've never seen it with NFL. I've never seen a Cowboy game not on the local channels in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
This happened when they first moved.
Well, then let's save your research for let's bring that up next week. All right.
Right.
And we can give a little more in-depth analysis on that. Because I want to go ahead and wrap it up because I want to get out of here and get ready for the Stars game. I'm gonna be honest. And we only got one segment left, and it is our whiskey of the week. And the whiskey of the week that I've been just deliciously sipping on is a Texas whiskey. The Texas Ranger 1823 blended whiskey right here. 40% alcohol, 750 milliliters, 80 proof, so not super strong. We know you can only make bourbon in Kentucky, but there are a lot of good distillers. I do want to give a shout out to the Garrett. I commented on their LinkedIn because the Garrison Brothers, who is a Texas-based whiskey company as well, they're pairing with the Whiskey Valor Foundation. They're coming out with their own signature bottle. They conjoined with these two companies to come out to raise awareness for vets. And, me and the old man are all about helping vets. If something goes right, there's a part of the company that I interviewed with today that I would love to go that route to help vets through that company eventually. But the guy who actually helped did post this is actually an Aggie as well. His name is Luis Martinez Jr. Works at the Whiskey Valor Foundation, and they're doing. I think they're doing a Vet Map whiskey single barrel special edition. So to raise money and awareness for vets. So, so pretty cool.
Well, are you done with your whiskey?
Sure.
We didn't mention the softball ladies of Texas A&M. They are number one going into the tournament for the first time, won an SEC championship, which they had to share because of a rainout. But for the first time in the Aggies' history, the girls are going in as the number one seed. So good luck to the girls. Proud of you. And you guys have, and the sweetest thing was they beat the hell out of the Longhorns to get there.
Yes.
In the words of Emmitt Smith, how sweet it is.
All right, let's save that for back-to-back championships. Congratulations to them. Also, since we're on the softball subject, shout out to the Leander Lady Softball Lions. They're on to round 4. I believe the regional finals or state semifinals. It's one less round now with the 2 divisions of high school. So they're in the Austin area. Coach Driver, Coach Reeder, 2 of my favorite people in the world. I'm putting it on air, but I don't tell many people this. Those 2 years coaching that sport were the most fun I've ever had coaching a sport. Which is kind of crazy because basketball is my first love. There was no stress on me. It was just a lot of fun, and I had no real responsibilities other than hitting the fungo. But I am 2-0 as a head JV coach, and my pitchers averaged 17 strikeouts a game. So I am undefeated as a softball coach. So, but yeah. Anyways, and big couple weeks. Got the wedding coming up here in 14, 18, 17 days. I don't know, whatever the 31st is. And then which you may or may not be solo that Thursday. I don't know when y'all are coming up either to Texarkana. So
We're coming up Friday and
okay.
Texarkana.
Yeah, we'll be there early, obviously, but I may be able to hop on the show with you, maybe not. We'll see what happens. We'll be getting prepared for it, and also, the old man, he may try to get some guests or something to help him out, but he'll be on his own for a little bit because I'll be on the honeymoon.
Oh, I have some cool stuff for people. So
yeah,
don't worry. Now that I know I can put on some videos, we may have some sports fails. We may have a few segments when you get back.
Well, hey, we're always looking for new content. And you also need to get your the thing you proposed to me about the person of the guy.
Yeah, I know.
But well, folks, if you're tuning in late, if you're seeing this 2 days later, if you're listening on Spotify after it gets posted on there, or Apple Podcast, where you can find all our network shows for the Tire Sports Network, we thank you for listening, as always. We went straight analyzing tonight. We had no guest on tonight. It was just you,
Nope.
the original and the remix all night tonight. So we can't thank y'all enough for listening, sharing. Now that my spring semester is over and I got a little bit of break, I can get back to a little social media, get us back on the algorithm, hopefully. And then got my GPA back up, so I get to apply for graduation and apply for that ring that is so famous from Texas A&M. So, yeah, that one right there. That I don't have money to pay for it because I'm paying for a wedding. Yeah, good times. All right, y'all. We appreciate it.
All right.
Y'all. We're out.
Take care. Go Stars.
Yes, go Stars. Always go Stars.